So I was reading this article called What Happens to Your Brain When You Stop Wearing Makeup. So originally when I saw this title, I wanted to say something like, this is how women feel when they see themselves without makeup. Bad. Flawed. And you know, guys rarely ever wear makeup. Women put a lot of time and effort into their makeup, and because of this, they always get to feel better about themselves than men. But when actually reading the article, it goes on to describe how women were asked to look at themselves every day without makeup for like 2 weeks straight. This found that the women who did that started to feel better and more confident about themselves when not wearing makeup. Like, they became familiarized to themselves. Like as they became used to seeing themselves like that, it didn't bother them as much. They didn't feel as bothered. Like they didn't see themselves as flawed because they became more familiar with themselves. So that defeats the point I was originally making when I saw the article title. But it reinforces another interesting point, which is that makeup only seems more attractive, or makeup only seems to make people more attractive, or make them seem more attractive, because it is a more familiarized and common observance. Basically, if makeup was uncommon or rare or never worn, rather than normalized to this extreme point where it's always worn, it would be far less likely for anyone to think that people look worse without makeup. Or it might be. So one point is that people think that makeup hides ugly people. Or at least some guys express this. Some male people express this. They seem to think that ugly people can hide behind makeup, which makes some guys feel cheated or tricked. However, if this short study has any weight of truth behind it, the actual point here is that very few women are really hiding how they look or covering flaws by wearing makeup. They just feel like they are because it's not normalized to see themselves like that. It's not normalized to see themselves how they naturally are. They're normalizing makeup by wearing it every single day. So all of these flaws that are being covered, they wouldn't seem so much as flaws rather than normal if makeup wasn't being worn as often. But honestly, what would that mean? Like, what does that lead to? What is this saying? Well, one thing it would mean is a reduction of net profits in the makeup industry. If there's less money in the makeup industry, that also means more money to other industries. So, of course, basically, if women aren't buying makeup, they have more money to spend somewhere else. So, something interesting to try to think of is what industries would be getting that money instead, or what industries would benefit from the makeup industry losing money. Where would that money go instead? Would it go to clothes? Would it go to fashion? Would it go to jewelry? Would it go to food? Would it go to art, games, and hobbies? With some research, you could probably find a point to understand where it might lead, but it's really all conjecture. There isn't a real way to know what industries would gain the most from makeup being affected. And really the point here isn't that another industry would gain. The point here is it's interesting to think how the world would change, what companies would grow, what products would become more popular, what would become more culturally expected to see, more culturally familiarized if makeup wasn't as popular. Another interesting thing to point out is that this would save women time, money, and possibly even self-confidence. So is it arguable to say that a society would actually be more peaceful without a strong makeup market? Or is it true that there is more quote unquote ugly, as many guys seem to believe, and that it would actually just make more women be seen as less desirable than they are without makeup, even if it was normalized to see women without makeup? So I think these are interesting questions to ponder based on this article, and it's a pretty interesting article. It definitely got me thinking. So yeah, maybe check out the article and come up with some ideas of your own.